What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another episode and another week of the What the Buck podcast. I'm Nick down here. That's Gunk up there for take two because I wasn't recording his audio for the first time.
Okay.
Uh, let's talk about the playoffs because we're back.
Yes.
The Devs found themselves in a hole.
Yes.
Game
And
one
I'll say it
is
again. The worst series of the worst series so far of these playoffs. So again, let's continue again.
yes. Back to game one. The
Yes.
Dev
So
Markstrom takes out his own guys. Defense is not there.
yes. If you heard the ending, that's what we just said. Again, we'll go over it again. Game one, really 5 minutes in, I was ready to turn the TV off. I knew what was gonna happen. The momentum just shifted way too fast. It was one of those games, and again, like I said, I thought game one would be the game where it would be like the most competitive of the two games in Carolina. I figured game one would be they would come out, be ready, and they just weren't. Uh, like I was just saying before we started recording again, the Carolina forecheck is ridiculous. They're sending 1 to 2 guys, and again, I've watched this whole season, and they're probably the most aggressive on the forecheck that I've seen, in this year, and they really do it really well. I mean, they keep you in your defensive zone so long. I mean, in both games, I mean, there was so many times where there was a five some out there for 1 minute, 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes, I think, at a point. When Carolina's on a power play, they just don't let it out. I mean, they're really relentless, and I did not expect that. Like I said, I knew their forecheck was really good, but the aggressive of the forecheck I did not expect, and I feel like the Devs did not prepare for that in game one. They were getting bombarded in the corners, in their defensive zone, and Carolina was just putting shot after shot after shot. And again, you can't blame Jacob Markstrom for this. I
No.
mean, he held them in this game. That game's a 7-1, 8-1 game without Jacob Markstrom standing on his head in this game, and it was, again, just it was embarrassing at first. I mean, they tried, they played better in the third, but the first two periods they just got shellacked.
Mm.
And it really worried me. I'm like, all right, this is not just going to be our season. It's going to be 4-5 done. But again, game two gave me a little bit of hope.
Yeah.
They played
You were
really
able to get
well.
ahead.
They came out ahead. Jesper Bratt scored, about 4 or 5 minutes into the game, 1-0 lead, and like I said, Carolina, they're relentless on the puck. They came back,
My
tried.
favorite player in the league scored. The Ghosty Bear. Gotta love him. He
Yeah,
because
unfortunately,
he was on some of the worst Flyers teams. He got he's the only one that gets credit.
yes.
But
Oh,
yeah, the Devils dig themselves into a 2-0 hole in the series. Go back home to Prudential tomorrow. Do you think that changes anything for them, or do you think they're gonna?
I this is again. I think it's these one of these series where the first 5 minutes of the games have really set the tone for the game. If the Devils can come out and set the tone, the building has to be rocking like right at the start of this game. And I think a lot of Devils fans do know that because I troll all the Facebook boards and all the Twitter posts and everything. And I think Devils fans are ready for game three. They got all their new concessions coming out. They got their little goaltender chicken finger buckets and
Oh
all kind
hell
of
yeah!
beer sticks, you know. So I think we'll be ready for game three. Let's see how the team comes out. If they can survive that first 5 minutes, get a lead, keep it 0-0, settle into their game, I think we could have a good game. And I think they could pull at least one of these games off. Hopefully, game three. I think if they win game three, they reset the momentum in the series, kind of. If you can
Okay.
understand what I mean, like
Yeah.
they kind of established, because again, if you listen and watch any of like hockey podcasts or the bigger ones out there, they after these two games, they're already counting the Devils out. They're like, this series is going to be 4 games. That's it. This game is over. I feel like if they come out in game three and put out their best effort and they make it a 2-1 series, I feel like the momentum almost, I mean, I hate to say it, but almost like the Rangers series 2 years ago. They went down 2-0, and that was even the Rangers took the two games at Prudential Center. And I remember, and that's so funny because actually that game three that we watched, me and you were actually together watching that game. If you
We
remember
were. We
that
were. The
Saturday
Devs won in
night,
overtime.
that was the overtime game with Dougie Hamilton. I feel
Mm.
like if something like that happens, for this series, I feel like it could change it back around. If Carolina comes out and barnstorms them and gets ahead by a goal or two, I mean, then I don't see the series going more than four at all.
All right.
You
Well,
know,
yeah, because the the Devs really haven't had anybody that's scoring. I mean, you've only scored twice in the
right?
entire series, one each game.
Mm-hmm.
So the Devs got to find that depth scoring again throughout the lineup. But in game three, I feel like it's kind of late to do that. You can pull it
Right.
through, but it's going to be a lot for this team right now without any kind of like primary scoring because you don't have Jack anymore.
Right. And again, I feel like, it without him, this is the worst case scenario for a series where we would need Jack Hughes in this
Mm.
situation. I feel like other series you can get away with playing good defense, a good goal, good goaltending, good defense. I feel like with the Carolina forecheck, you know, you want that quick guy to get that puck behind the net and get that puck out of that zone. And I guess, except for Bratton Heischer, I mean, they really don't have that like really speedster guy to get the puck out of the zones and stuff. And like I said, it's just not clicking on with even the bottom six. I mean, I don't know how many times Justin Dowling got open in game two and just either missed or messed up. Just I
But
mean, he feel like he was
what do
open.
you think's causing that? Because it's the same lines as the regular season, and they were working fine then. Do you think it's just the intensity of the playoffs? Do you think is it Carolina? Like I'm not sure where the problem's coming.
I see. I feel like it's more the Carolina experience right now. I feel like they've been in this position before. Brindamore has been in this position before. I mean, he's got this team ready to play. And again, that's what a really good coach does. And I'm not trying to shit on Sheldon Keith. I think he's a really good coach. But for right now, he's getting out coached by Rod Brindamore. And again, that's why I'm saying with game three, they need to come out and change the momentum of this series fast. And if it doesn't happen, I mean, like I said, it's just a dead fish in the water. And I mean, like I said, you can make an excuse. Jack Hughes is not there. Jonas Siegenthaler is not there, who would be great in this for defensive purposes. Um, I feel like Johnny Kovacevic is getting getting exposed in the series. I don't know. I feel like every time he's just been turning over the puck a lot. I mean, a lot. I mean, he might be like a good like regular season defenseman, but I feel like the couple games in his playoffs he's played horrible. I mean, and I've been a big supporter of him all year, but he's played horrific in these first two games, and
Mm.
something like that could just change the momentum of what's going on with their team. And right now, again, it's a waiting game. It's like one of those like you're anticipating it. I'll be sitting here, I'll be excited, ready to roll, cheering my ass off. Turn the TV up, and hopefully they give me a good performance. That's all I can ask for right now. It's one of those, like I said, you're just hoping for the best and not, getting the worst.
Well, you can anticipate that at 8 o'clock tomorrow because that's when the
Yep.
game is on.
Yep.
But
Absolutely.
I agree with you. They got to come out really fast. They got to come out hard. They got to get the first two.
I agree. I
Like you
agree.
can't give Carolina any chance to like tie the game up. You got to get it. You got to get this done fast. Because
Absolutely.
Carolina can take over the game when playing from behind. I've seen it.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
and Carolina's just sneaky good this year. I think I think this would be a much different series right now if Carolina had Rantanen over Logan Stankoven. Because I don't feel like
Okay.
Rantanen would be doing anything, and Stankoven already has 2 goals.
Yes. Which again,
Um, I just think this has been working out for everybody. But
I can agree with that definitely.
yeah,
I thought about that. It was like, yeah, and that was a lot of things too. Like I said, we talked about it all year, like how they traded for Rantanen and they were excited about it. They thought, maybe that was the final piece of, making a bigger run that they've had the last couple years. And they can make a deal, and they said, you know what, we're going to cut our losses. They got a good deal and thing, and it's paid out for them. I mean, just seems like the luck of the Irish is with them, man. It's like they got that little fucking clover leaf hanging over their heads. I mean, shit.
And
But
I want to talk about Jordan Martinook for a sec because he is one of the most
no,
criminally underrated players in the league that never gets talked about.
that's so funny you brought him up, because I was gonna say, if fucking Connor McMichael's my number one, he is my fucking number two, or at least a 1B. Every time
Jordan
he's
Martinook
one of
is
those
a
guys.
fantastic person.
Yes, yeah, I'm sure he is, and it's just my hockey brain that goes into effect, and it just seems like he always kills my Devils. I swear, he's one of those guys that just always ends up on some kind of score sheet with an assist, a goal against us every time.
And he's been around the league for a while. He's been around for 10 years at this point.
Yes.
Bonus points if you could guess what team drafted him.
God, I want to say the Kings, because for some reason I remember that, but I don't think it is.
It's
I think he.
I'll give you one more guess because it's not the Kings.
Okay. Okay.
You're
Let me
you're
see.
good. You're right on the West Coast.
Okay, I'm gonna guess. I'll throw San Jose in there for some reason.
Close with
Just
bottom of the standings, but it was a team that's no longer a team anymore. He got drafted by the
Oh.
Coyotes.
The Utah Hockey Club.
He
your
got
Coyotes.
He got drafted by the Utah Hockey Club in 2012.
Oh, that yes. You know what? Now I'm starting to remember. I remember. I don't know why I remember again. The hit. I had this weird thing with names that I could just, like, when a name pops up, I always remember it from like here to there. I can remember names from like the 80s and that were just weird. Like, you ever watch on like TikTok, like the people that open like baseball cards from like the 80s and 90s, and he's going through the cards and you see the names and you're like, oh my
Yeah.
God, I remember that guy. It's one of those, like, I just remember the name, but yes, I kind of remember him in an Arizona in an Arizona jersey for some reason now. I don't know why, but anyways, yeah.
I forgot for a while, but now that I saw it again, I remembered it. But we talked about your 1B. Let's talk about your 1A real quick in terms of least favorite players, because the Caps are up 2-0, and
Yeah.
Connor McMichael scored twice yesterday.
Yeah, of course he did. Well,
Of
again,
course he did, just for you.
just for me. But again, it's not against any other teams. I don't care. It's against
Yeah.
us. He just seems like he always bothers us. And like I said, there's players out there that probably score against other teams, and I'm like, oh, the guy's awesome, and I respect all these guys. It's just those, like, when they play the Devils, it always just seems like those are the guys that always show up on the score sheet or score a goal when you least expect it, and you're like, oh, here we go again with the same people. And you know what those teams are? It's never like with McMichael. It's never like an Ovechkin that scores. It's never like, like a Tom Wilson that scores. It's always him, and he's one of those, like, just nudge guys that just like, I don't know. Again, it's just a weird thing for me when I watch sports, and I'm talking about I do this with other sports too. So, it's just not the hockey. I can do this with baseball and football, and it's one of those things. I'm a weird dude.
Well, since we I have Connor McMichael's stats against the Devils. We can get into this real quick because the Rangers don't have much. In 11 games, he has 8 goals and 2 assists with a plus-minus of +2.
He's almost a point per game, friggin' almost against us. A point per game. Like I said, he always just shows up on the score sheet. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Gotta
It's
lock
the
him
weird
down,
thing.
man.
Lock him down. I
Gotta
swear.
lock him down. But
Ugh.
the Devils will try to get close to evening up the series, and the Rangers that got eliminated are still in the news. They fired Laviolette. Cool, I guess. I would have stuck around with him for another year, but it's fine. You could probably find somebody good out there that can do more with the younger guys, and that's cool. But then they turned around and extended the Devil. I don't understand why Dolan looks at Drury with such high regard because Drury's not good at his job per se.
Agree.
He's just not really like the best. And when people on like social media are saying, "Well, I guess the Rangers don't want to win for another 10 years," that makes me feel so good. Uh like that makes me feel fantastic. And the Rangers had their media day, and I want to get into this quote real quick from Adam Fox on having to play for another coach. He says, "It's hard to not look at his players and say, why is this happening? We seem to have a lot of success, and then I don't know, it turns." First of all, what does that mean? What does that mean?
It's a culture thing there. It's really it's a culture thing because again, it just seems like you're keeping these coaches for 2 years. They have one good year, and then the next year they fall off, and then they get fired. So I can understand his point, but it's just like the same cycle over and over again. So I
Yeah,
mean,
but what are you doing wrong? Like, what's changing?
it's like I said.
I guess
I
it's
feel
because
like
people are leaving. Like, other guys have left, so now it's harder. But like, I'll get to that. Continues. I don't think us as players at any point didn't like Lavi or thought his message wasn't getting through. It just seemed the execution of it was not there. Okay, so you guys didn't do anything.
right,
So it's the
which is
play. So we're where we were in the beginning by saying it was the player's fault. It wasn't the coach's fault.
right. Which you go back to the point of whatever worked, whatever didn't work this year worked last year. So I don't think he would change up your coaching strategy if you just won the President's Trophy last year.
Yeah,
Why
but
would you
Laviolette
change
doesn't
it?
go into the locker room after games.
Well, apparently not. Yeah, which again, I feel like that quote is way out of sorts. I don't know why. Just
Well, there's more to it.
because no, because I think maybe they let them kind of let the players cool down a little bit before they go into the locker room. So maybe he's one of those coaches that gives his players a little time to kind of decompress a little bit before he goes in, and maybe he was just
But he said
misquoted
he
with
doesn't
that.
go
But
in it. Laviolette has said that
did,
he doesn't go in at all.
which is again, this is where you can't defend that point. Which exactly, you would think that, but again, like I said, if he's not going there at all, that's crazy. I don't. How
I,
can you not go in there? You
I don't know, but
do you see a Bill Belichick not going into a locker room after a game? I mean, it's
Belichick
just
is everywhere though. Belichick is in the
that
ceiling.
he, yeah, that is
Yeah.
true. But it's just like again, it's one of like you would never picture somebody saying, "Oh, I never saw him in the locker room after a game."
Yeah,
You know what? You know.
I don't. The quote ends with, "I think we want to be able to come in with a coach that's here for as long as we're all here, even outlast us as players, because that means we're having a lot of success." You could have had that. Play well. You started the year off 12-4. What are we talking about? Oh God. But
Mhm.
if we're talking about like them struggling because players were leaving, they asked Mika about everything with Truba and Goodrow leaving. And he said, I think there was frustration. I think it's just when you don't know everything, we don't know what's going on. That's none of your concern. Your concern is to play hockey.
Yeah.
If your friend is here or he's not, oh well, go play hockey. We pay you $8.5 million. Go play hockey. I don't care. And then he parlayed it into this quote. I feel like mentally what I went through the first couple months was probably just the toughest I've ever been through in my career. Um, Again, people were on you about stuff is because you just kind of sucked.
Yeah.
We you kind of just sucked and were -24 until JT Miller showed up.
Right. Exactly.
I don't I can't defend you. And then my favorite quote of the entire day was Igor, because I get he must be watching the podcast because of this quote. he said in my mind something broke during the season and went the other way. We couldn't handle it. Um, I said that I said that for about
I
five
remember. Yeah,
straight weeks. Um, and if you're watching, hi, but like, yeah, no, he's right. He's right. They couldn't handle it, and
they couldn't.
I'm glad he's on. I'm glad we're on the same page, him and I. Of they couldn't do it.
No. And
Um,
there was chances to all season. There was times when you again we go back to the 3 games in a row thing or the 4 games in a row. That they always brought up. It was one of those like they just you thought they were going on a run and then something would happen and they would have a game where it's like what are we doing here?
yeah,
They and then it would just snowball from there and that's where they ended up. That's why they ended up the way they were. I mean,
oh for sure.
they just couldn't put it together and he's right. They just couldn't put it together for
And
more
every
than
time, and like you said, every time you thought they were gonna put it together, it just fell apart.
yes.
Well,
And I had all year. I think I was more positive with the about the Rangers than you were, just because I 1 week I'd be sitting here like, no, I feel like they got a chance. They can come. They're only 6 points out. They're only 8.
you
I
weren't
defended them
watching
more
all
than
the
you did, I think.
games. You weren't
I
watching all
was
the
like,
games.
like
I had to suffer.
I understand.
But then you win the last two as if that means anything. It doesn't. It doesn't.
All it did was
Um,
just mess up your lottery chances.
I don't even care about that. I don't
Yeah,
package that pick for somebody. Get somebody. And then Crides was asked about potentially this being the last year that he plays for the Rangers, and he said, "This is home." I'll cry on the podcast right now. That is stop it.
hmm
I cannot forgive you for not registering a point against the Islanders in that 9-2 win. I can't because how? But I will cry.
There you go.
A lot of stuff. A lot of stuff was revealed regarding like injuries and stuff with Kreider. He had back troubles early on in the season, which I talked about.
Right.
Middle of the season, he got sick and he ended up getting vertigo.
Oh, wow.
So, I'll take back some of the stuff that I may have said. And then in the first game back after the Four Nations, he had a hand injury. So really, just batting 1,000 on 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 injuries and doctor's visits and everything. So yeah, that explains stuff. But the quotes just they kept on coming, and they just kept asking people. They just kept asking people I didn't want to hear from. Keandre Miller quote: "I love New York. I wouldn't want to play for anywhere else right now. I want you to play anywhere else but here. I want you anywhere else but on this team." And then he was asked about how his season went, and you can just sum it up in 2 words: walking pylon. But he said, I mean, not just my game. I think throughout this team, I think there was a lot of ups and downs throughout the year. I was obviously a big part of that. I didn't love how my season this. I didn't. Oh, that's.
You can't even swallow that one.
That's a weird way of. No, there was just a weird wording. I didn't love how my season this year. I was. Okay. I wasn't listening. I was listening to a lot of the noise and just not really playing the game I wanted to play. This was a hard season for me to kind of get a grip of how I wanted to play. He's been here since 2018.
I think when he was saying that, I think somebody was just skating around him, so he was talking really fast because he was just trying to catch up to the guy behind him.
He wouldn't be able to follow.
Exactly.
There was a lot of noise at the beginning, but I thought I did a good job of just staying true to myself and showing up every day with a smile on my face and willingness to get better.
That is the ultimate walking pylon quote.
Dude.
That is the ultimate. I am just standing here doing nothing. I show up.
Like that
he
is
was
just
ready for showing
that's
up.
a nothing. That's a standing still doing nothing quote.
No, absolutely. If he is not the walking pylon, that quote cements it. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I like wow. And then And then Laffy has this to say on his season. I thought I had a good start and then struggled to be consistent in my game. Didn't really make a difference. I'm obviously disappointed in my year. Fine. Fine.
You got your bank.
You'll
No
be
problem.
you got your 7 mil for the next
You got
7 years. You're
you got your
whatever.
bank.
Fine, sure.
Exactly.
And then soon to be captain, he better be. Trocheck, I really believe in this locker room. I believe in everybody. I obviously believe in the talent we have. I just think it's a matter of us as a team sticking together, figuring out the right way to go about things moving into next year. And once we have that team belief, then it all starts to snowball in a positive direction. The, this team needs, I guess, the they need the power of friendship. They need what the Mets have.
Yes.
Um, so there's that. I guess we'll see what happens in the offseason now that we have Drury here for an undisclosed amount of time. They said they extended him for multiple years. However long multiple is probably 3. Um, but yeah, we'll see how this offseason goes. And the Rangers have a long one. The Devs one may be starting soon. We'll see.
Soon. Yeah. Tell me about it.
Soon TM starting Friday. We'll have a better answer for you. But
Yeah, absolutely.
yeah, that's been it for this week. No, it's not.
Well, we got.
WrestleMania sucked.
Oh God, it stinks.
Oh my God, did that show suck? I was gonna talk about the card last week and I forgot. That show sucked.
I can't agree more. What a waste. And then like that after that horrific game 1, having to watch that, my Sunday was not the best at all. I'm telling you, not the best, not the best 420 going on.
No, not at all because it was just everything had a sponsor.
Yes.
And it was just all lame. And Travis Scott does not need to be there.
No, absolutely not.
So,
especially when you're anticipating one of the biggest stars ever, and you get Travis Scott, it really is a letdown.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands,
or
buts.
To hope that maybe The Rock shows up and then you hear Fiend, and it's just Travis Scott. And it's just like, okay, cool. Like,
yep.
It's so disappointing too because like that was supposed to be like the coolest thing of the weekend, and instead the coolest thing was the triple threat the night before for nothing.
For nothing. It was that at least was in the moment. It was I mean, you kind of saw it coming a mile away, but it was executed really well. Because those 3 are awesome. I mean, those 3 and Heyman were awesome. I mean, got to give them all. They were fantastic. They kind of saved that whole night because that first night kind of sucked too.
The War Raiders and New Day put me to bed.
Seriously.
So I couldn't even give it a chance anymore. I watched the main event the day after. But yeah, that sucked. The Mets just swept the Phillies and their homestand. Yep. So yeah, we're rocking there.
Oh, wait, hold on. And also let's have just a quick few. I want to hear your thoughts about the
all right.
What if Drury's not the dumbest GM in the world? Let's talk Vancouver's GM.
Oh God. Okay.
With his exit strategy. Or his exit press conference. I would like to know of Mr. Rutherford, whatever your fucking name is. What would you like to give up for Mr. Jack Hughes and Mr. Lee Hughes in a trade? Please tell me. What can you do for me besides ownership of the club?
Well, let's go over Vancouver's roster, and we could see. Wow, that's a sure.
Okay.
You would need everybody. um, I don't really think Vancouver has anybody that would. I mean, you could get Heedle, but he's sure.
Sure.
Yeah.
He knows the area at least.
I guess.
I guess.
Yeah.
Exactly. How, as an organization, is he not fired today?
Well, I
I mean,
mean, you could if you. How confident of a goalie tandem are you in Markstrom and Demko? Which is it's just who Vancouver had 3 years ago.
yes.
um,
Yeah, that when I saw that really, I really wanted to talk to you about it because I want to get your
you would
thoughts because I thought my thoughts were, first of all, how do you even put that out? How do you put that out there?
it would be the two Hughes brothers for Besser, Nils Hoglander, and Demko, and
And
that's the
Besser's
only way I could even say yeah.
and Brock Besser's isn't he under unrestricted free agent this year? So you don't even have
Maybe,
him as your like yeah. So you don't even have him as
maybe.
your bargaining chip.
Oh God, you're right. Hold on,
Mhm.
you may be onto something here.
Exactly.
Uh, yeah, he is. Oh shit. Oh, so you could just sign him.
Yeah, we could just sign if we wanted him.
Yeah.
So what are you offering?
Man, yeah, you're right.
I wish we had sound effects. I'd love to play the Jeopardy friggin' theme right now. To
Yeah,
use.
I. Wow. Yeah, no, there's nothing. They have nothing. Jake DeBrusque or
And like,
maybe short Connor Garland, 5'10" Connor Garland.
but you're offering for two under 25 studs.
Yeah, they're all made of they're all made of glass though, Gunk.
I understand that. I can understand that, and there is a but still, you don't give up two of your most talented, could be future superstars for to make
But you have
and
your answer on defense. You have Simone.
uh, he played really well in game two. I'll just say that really
All right.
well.
Well,
He,
let's see if he can play really well in game
no,
3.
three.
But yeah,
Yes, folks. I just wanted to
that
end on that one. That was one that made my jaw drop this week.
yeah,
Besides
that's something.
game one,
That is something. But
yeah.
yeah, gang, that's going to do it for this week. We will talk next week and see if the Devils are eliminated from the playoffs or not. Game
Fingers
3
crossed they're
tomorrow
not.
night. Fingers crossed they're not. If not, it'll
crossed they're
be
not.
the last episode of the season until the cup
Yeah,
is
exactly.
awarded because we'll be taking a little break. But yeah, that'll be fun. And game 3 is tomorrow night. Game
Yep.
4 would be Sunday,
Sunday at 3:30.
and this episode will be today.
Yes.
But thank you all for listening and watching. We appreciate all of it. We hope that you stick around for this episode and many, many more episodes. I've been Nick down there. That's been Gunk up there. Gang, we love you. Gunk, I love you.
I love
Everybody
you too, bud.
keep it real, keep it light, keep it tight. Peace, baby.